Whenever you're ready.
So in February of last year, my uncle began to play a new sport or a hobby, and he used to go out every weekend playing disc golf. Now, every time I'd see him, he would try to get me to come out with him. He'd tell me I'd like it, it'd be so much fun. And honestly, I was not really into it. I could barely throw a frisbee, and I didn't think I'd be good at it. Despite that, I went out there and I played, and believe it or not, I was terrible. I threw it in the trees every single time, and I was so frustrated that my 10-year-old cousin could throw farther than I could. But despite that, I still went out, and now it is one of my favorite things to do, if not my favorite thing to do. So enough about my disc golf history, let's talk about the sport's history. So in 1965, a man by the name of George Sappenfield worked as a recreation counselor at a park in California, and one day he was golfing, and he had a great idea. Well, all these kids on the playground, they can play golf. Well, why can't they just play golf with frisbees? So in 1966, another man that worked at the park by the name of Kevin Donnelly, he met the man, and they found that they both had the same idea, and they became great friends and bonded over this shared idea. So in 1969, Sappenfield graduated from college, and he became the permanent recreation supervisor of Thousand Oaks Park in California, and he began to seek support from Wham-O Frisbee Company for his frisbee golf tournament. Wham-O was actually so impressed with Sappenfield that they offered him a part-time job as a promotions consultant. But in 1972, one of Wham-O's publicists wrote a book detailing all the ways in which you could play with a frisbee. Now in this book, they technically did include disc golf, just in the very back of the book, and they didn't even name it. This just really goes to show that at that time, Wham-O saw no future in disc golf, and they didn't really want very much to do with it. So despite Wham-O ignoring disc golf, the sport was continuing to be played. There was a big group of people in Rochester, New York that played every week and hosted tournaments and weekly leagues, and they loved it. In 1973, one of the members of a group from Rochester, New York, ran across an article or newsletter from IFA, so International Frisbee Association, detailing some disc golf. And they were so excited to find out that there were other people like them that played the sport and loved it. So they decided that they would host a national tournament with a brand new 1974 Datsun sports car on the line to bring as many people as they possibly could. In 1975, Ed Hendrick, an executive at Wham-O Company, began to reassess the value that disc golf held. He decided that due to the success of the tournament in 1973, he would include an event in the 1975 Frisbee World Championships, Frisbee golf. And due to the success of that World Championships in 1975, Ed Hendrick decided that he would quit his job at Wham-O as the VP to start his own company, the Disc Golf Association. With Ed Hendrick traveling around the country every week, the sport grew and grew. More courses and players were being added, and it was becoming a real sport. And in 1976, Ed Hendrick started the PDGA, the Professional Disc Golf Association. He invited the top 100 players to join. Becoming a member of the PDGA at that time didn't really mean much. It was really small, but it did give a way for local club players to feel like they were part of something bigger than just their own town. So in 1979, Ed Hendrick hosted a national tournament with a $50,000 payout for the winner. This attracted many eyes from around the country and really brought a lot of publicity to the sport. This large payout gave way to bigger tournaments and more legitimacy as a sport. Today, there's a national tour for disc golf, and there are tournaments every week that boast $1,000 pay or thousands of dollars payouts, and players really have an opportunity to make a living off the sport they love. And Ed could have never dreamed of this, But here we are with what we have now, players with $1 million contracts, and just, yeah.